Good afternoon, friends. I'm Ms. Natalie from the Accokeek branch of Prince George's County Memorial Library System, and welcome to our STEM at Home. Today's program is about Sally Ride, the first American woman in space, and we'll be making some straw rockets in celebration. June is Pride Month, and that makes a great time to talk about Sally Ride. She was not only the first American woman in space, she was also the first LGBTQ+ person in space that we know of. She was married to fellow astronaut Steve Hawley for 5 years in the 1980s, and then she was in a relationship with childhood friend Tam O'Shaughnessy for 27 years until Ride's death in 2012. She and Ride wrote half a dozen science books together, and they also founded Sally Ride Science, a nonprofit organization that works to inspire young people in STEM fields. While we work on our rockets today, I'm going to share some of my favorite Sally Ride facts with you. Here are some of the supplies that we're going to need to make our straw rockets today. A straw. It doesn't matter if it's a paper straw or a plastic straw. Mine are going to be paper. Printer paper or construction paper. You're free to experiment with different kinds of paper if you want. Some tape. Markers, crayons, colored pencils, or something else to decorate your rockets with. A pair of scissors. A measuring tape. We will be making 3 rockets together and then seeing how far each of them flies, and then thinking about the results that we get. I'm going to fly each rocket 3 times and only count the longest flight, because I will be blowing through the straw to launch the rockets. And my lungs aren't really a machine, they're kind of squishy, and they don't work the same every single time, and I want to make sure no rocket gets an unfair advantage because of that. The 3 types of rockets that we're going to make are 1. A minimalist rocket, as lightweight as possible, just a tube shape and made with very little paper. 2. A fancy rocket. This one is going to be kind of traditional rocket shape, with wings on it, little astronaut inside. It's going to be a little bit heavier and a lot bigger. 3. Heavy rocket. This one is going to be significantly heavier than the minimalist rocket, but it's still going to be pretty small like the minimalist rocket. That's going to make it dense. Let's see how that goes. Alright, to start with, we're going to need a straw. I'm using a paper straw. You can use a plastic one too. They're both going to work. We're also going to need some paper. You can use most kinds of paper, probably not newspaper that's going to be a little bit too swishy, but experiment if you want. We're going to need some tape. And here are my scissors. If you've got kids' safety scissors, I recommend that you use those. Today I brought some Sharpies to color my rockets, but you can use whatever you've got. For our first rocket, we're going to want to make sure that it's just slightly larger than our straw. So we're going to measure our straw just a little bit, just to check. And we're going to wrap this around and make sure we don't have extra paper. We want just enough paper. I'm going to tape it securely now that we've got a paper tube. And you can see it's just big enough that it's not going to have friction in the way. We are going to need to close up this end though, or else all the air will come out. There we go, all set. Just big enough. For our second rocket, it's going to need a front and a back, so I'm going to fold this piece of paper in half. I don't have a reference picture of a rocket here, so I'm just going to kind of make it up. It's going to be, maybe I should have used a reference picture. No, this is fine. I'm going to add some flames, just in case that helps it go fast. Since I'm going to be cutting this out, I am perfectly free to even out this line. There we go. Symmetry. And now we're going to put Sally Ride in the rocket. And then we'll just take a moment and decorate it. There's not much use in decorating the Minimalist because it's just a tube. This one I'll have a little bit of fun with. There's no reason for you to wait around while I'm doing all this coloring though. Let's have a Sally Ride fact. Sally Ride fact. There is a Dr. Sally K. Ride Elementary School right here in Maryland. It's just up in Montgomery County. Now we're going to want to cut out our rocket shape. Since I folded the paper in half, it's going to cut out 2 rockets. One for the front and one for the back. I always make my outlines just a little bit too fiddly, and now I have to do all of this intricate cutting. Sally Ride fact. After she died, she was awarded the National Medal of Honor. This is a picture of President Obama giving the award to Tam O'Shaughnessy, her partner. All right, here is our finished classic rocket. I wonder if the wings will make it go further. Difficult to say. We are going to need to seal up the edges so the air does not get out. And not only so the air doesn't get out, but also so the 2 edges don't kind of waffle in the air. That won't make it aerodynamic at all. Actually, maybe we should seal up the edges and put a small tube in the middle. Yeah, I like this. A small tube in the middle so that I don't have to fill up the entire rocket with air. It can be like the minimalist one, kind of, but with a classic rocket on the outside. So we'll just make this little pocket for the straw, and I'll put it inside the rocket there. I'm kind of having to use a lot of tape, but science is just like that sometimes. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And now we've got a rocket sandwich. This point will be very aerodynamic, I'm hoping. The first one we made is just kind of flat at the end. I wonder if this will go further. Only time will tell. And now it's time for the third rocket. It's going to be very similar to the minimalist rocket, but we're going to make it heavy. We're going to use more paper wound around a greater number of times. It'll be the same size, but way more. This will make it very dense, and I hope that will make it so that the air won't push it around as much. Of course, it'll make it harder for the air in my lungs to push it around too. We'll have to see how that plays out. We still need to cover up the end, but that's going to be more difficult now that it's not as easy to bend. It's still a little bit squishy. Hopefully it will stay. Yep, good fit, very little friction. Similar to the first one, but significantly chunkier. It weighs maybe 4 times as much, it feels like. Maybe I should have gotten a scale. All right, here are all 3 of the rockets. Don't know which one will go the furthest. Most excited about the middle one, but who can say? Let's talk about what exactly we're going to be measuring here. We have 3 types of rocket, and we will be flying them each 3 times. We have a tape measure, and we will be seeing how far each of them travel with one good lungful of air. We're going to take a look at the difference between the results and think about what might have caused that difference. There are several factors at play here. If we believe that the lightness of the rocket is the most important thing, then the minimalist rocket should win. It is considerably less heavy than either of the other two. If we believe that the wings on the rocket are the most important thing, then the classic rocket should win. It's the only one with wings, and the other two are just fancy tubes. I built the heavy rocket with no greater principle in mind than the fact that I can throw a rock farther than I can throw a cotton ball. And I think that the heavier rocket might be less affected by air resistance as it flies. These are not the only styles of rocket that you can create, though. Only your imagination is the limit. And I'm sure that if you experiment, you will be able to make one that flies significantly further than any of the kinds that I tried today. I brought 2 straws out with me. I'm going to use one to shoot the rockets, and then I'm going to use the other to mark where I'm standing, so that I can be sure that I'm measuring correctly. That's reasonable. Let's go measure. From the closest point of the straw, 76 inches. Not bad at all. All right, let's try again. That seemed very similar. 72 inches, all right. And the third one, oh, that one a little bit short. A mere 61 inches. Oh well, we're only taking the longest one, so that one doesn't really matter. It looks like the longest one, for the minimalist, is 76 inches. We'll make a note of that and move on to number 2. The second rocket is going to be the classic rocket. Let's see how it goes. Oh. 41 inches. But that was just the first one. We still get to try it 2 more times, and we're only going to take the longest flight. Ha! 73 inches. That's more like it. Huh. 42 inches, almost exactly the same as the first one. Now it's time for the heavy rocket. Oh, 88 inches. That's more than twice as far as the last flight from the second rocket. "75 inches, all right." "74 inches, almost exactly the same." Well, in our little experiment today, the heavy rocket edged out past its competition. But the key to science is large sample sizes and repeatability. So I can't wait to see you all make your own rockets and do your own tests and see how they turn out. In the meantime, let me hit you with one more Sally Ride fact. Sally Ride fact. Ride was almost a professional tennis player instead of a scientist. In her youth, she was a nationally ranked juniors player, one of the top 20 in the country. Tennis legend Billie Jean King told her specifically that she could turn pro. If you're still hungry for Sally Ride information, let me show you how you can find some on our website. First, go to pgcmls.info. Across the top of the screen, you'll see some options. You're going to want to choose Online Library. In the second column, you're going to look for the word Kids. We have a variety of resources for kids, but you'll want to scroll down a little bit for these. First on the list is Biography in Context. This is our largest compilation of biographies, and it has an easy search field. You'll just type in the name of the person you're looking for. They have a brief overview at the top with some quick facts, and you can scroll down for more in-depth information. Each piece of biographical information includes the citation information showing where it came from. Next, we have Encyclopedia Britannica for kids. Biography in Context is for everyone, but Britannica, this one's just for kids. It also has an easy search function. Did you know Sally Ride was a serious tennis player in college? Actually, we did. We just found that out. Finally, I'd like to share PebbleGo with you. This is a resource for people who are just starting out doing online research. This one is specifically for younger children. We could go directly to biographies, but it's just as easy to use the front and center search bar. The little yellow button next to the text will read the text to you. And you can see down at the bottom of the screen there's citation information, a related activity, and a video clip. Thank you so much for joining us today for STEM at Home. We can't wait to see you again soon. Bye. Ha! Surprise! One last Sally Ride fact. Sally Ride fact. Ride was kind of a prankster. Mission Control regularly contacts astronauts, and the astronauts are supposed to say, "Roger," to let them know that they understand and hear. Instead of saying Roger, Sally said, "We're sorry. No one can take your call right now. Please leave your name and number." As though Mission Control had just gone to voicemail. Okay, that's it. This time for real. We'll see you later, and be sure to sign up for summer at your library. Bye.